Yo, my name is Kevin, and I interview the coolest creators on the internet. This is the Party God Party Pod. Welcome. Welcome, Yuni Wa. Yuni Wa, the genre-defying musician who's recorded over 48 albums. All right, you're a prolific artist as far as anyone is concerned. 48 is insane. Um, but currently, or maybe not currently, maybe you've always been known as this, but you go by the anti-artist. Is that correct?
Now I do.
Now you
The
do.
anti-artist or the master, but I like the anti-artist. The master and the anti-artist.
The master and the anti-artist. Can you just explain what that means? You mentioned the master, the anti-artist. Who are these? Where is all this
The
coming
master,
from?
the master is like the master's like trying to seek like complete like control over your creative process. Like I'm trying to be the master of my creative process and of getting my music and my essence, making music. And the anti-artist is kind of like I'm an anti-artist in the sense that I don't really follow trends. I kind of just do what I want. Each album, I just do something different. It's like with anything I put out, it's like making my music career just a little bit more confusing and blurring the lines just a little bit more than they already were.
Right.
Just because I care, but I care in the sense about like being like adding a whole new layer to like how we perceive music and breaking all those like things that we thought about musicians down and putting up new things.
Totally. So, what are some things that should be kind of redefined, like things like genre, or what kind of defines all of that?
I try to blur the lines, like I said, with all my albums, because like I run all my genres together in albums. Like I felt like, especially if you listen to my early shit, I can categorize an album with like so many different genres, and it's still like people got to see like it's a flow of just like me trying to break down. Also trying to put a feeling of nostalgia out there. You listen to specific songs, you hear the nostalgia, but really just trying to break down those that perception of genre. Like you got to be an artist and stay within this genre. You got to be over here. You got to be over there. Now I'm gonna be everywhere at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What what I found is like people who do that, they're usually like to overcome like where their one project is in a certain genre, they might create like another go under another artist name to sort of do something different. I mean, are you opposed to that? Are you against that? Like, do you have
I've
any
done
thoughts
that
on it?
already.
You've done it already.
Yeah.
What are the other synonyms of Yuni Wa here?
No frame. That's like my side moniker that I started like over a year ago. And I'm pretty sure most people that pay even a little attention will probably be able to tell that I'm no frame.
But what's interesting is that I think there is like, listening to your music, like I think there is a style that permeates through all of it. But you've been making music a long time, right? You used to rap on shit. But are you still
Since I
doing
was
that?
12 or 13, I'm 23 right now. So like
Right.
it gives you like when I my music, like my future funk and my dance music, like Can't Tell and All About You and Feel Free. I was like 18 when all those songs popped on the YouTube.
Oh, really? So
It
you
was like
made those
18,
years ago.
17. Yeah, I was in high school.
Yeah. So that's actually how I know you. How I know your music is from Can't Tell. I think popped up, and I was like, "Yo, who is this? Who made this?" Because I think like when it comes to future funk, like I think that's like if I think there's a few songs that really define the genre, but I think Can't Tell kind of like really brings it home.
Yeah, it's like you know, future funk is such an interesting genre because you got all these people arguing in the whirlpool about is this French house? Is this like, the like politics of the categorization never ceases to amaze me. You feel me?
Yeah.
Because it's like it'll go on forever for as long that there are people there to consume it. It'll people will keep coming up with ideas and concepts as to what is the foundation and what is the whole platform behind it.
Well, I think what's interesting with future funk too is I think you can really trace it because it's so new.
You can trace it very easily. It's very traceable. It's really cool because it's like it started in the middle of the internet age.
Yeah.
So it's like in 2009, 2010. That's what I love about it. It's like so new still to this day.
Who was influencing you when you were making that?
St. Pepsi.
St. Pepsi, yeah. Skylar Spence, yeah.
He's and we've become closer over time. He's such a cool dude. He's like so just respectful and just cool to talk to. So yeah, I was in high school. I'd be in computer lab or like at the computer, and I'd be on Spotify. By that time they had locked a lot of the computers in my school district up. So you couldn't go with third-party things, but they let you go on Spotify. So I go on Spotify and listen to music all the time.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting because I feel like the way I was discovering music was through a site that's long gone, but essentially was what Spotify was doing. It was called playlist.com. And
that sounds familiar.
And it had all music, right? People were just uploading shit, kind of like SoundCloud, right? Like the way that kind of works now. And I was just going through there. I don't remember if there was any sort of algorithm, but any sort of music I liked, I would find, I'll put it up, and then I would just hoard it in these like algorithms. I mean, in these playlists. And then Spotify came to the States, and that was like how I started discovering music, like in high school.
That was like 08, 09.
Yeah.
Changed the industry forever. Still recovering.
I mean, it's still changing. Like, what do you think about Spotify made the news recently about this
Hate it.
program.
Hate it.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about already.
Just for those who don't know, it's a program they're thinking about running where they're testing it out now, but where they give artists extra promotional boosts for less money per plays of a certain song. What are the pros and cons here? I mean, what beyond just exposure, what does the artist really get out of this?
This is pay for play. Now, I don't like the idea, and I see mostly cons. Because, yeah, you could get your music to be more popular. But for algorithmic acceptance, you're making less when you are already making a fraction. And I mean a fraction of a cent.
Yeah. No, it is actually disgusting.
So you're making a fraction of a cent at that point. And it's just like, what even is the point of that?
Yeah. I guess when you put it like that, it sounds hella silly.
And I've been with Spotify since like 2014, 2015. And I'm just like, man, I mean.
Has it always been like so bad, or were there like high points at any time?
Basically, they don't change the royalty rates often. Because that's like,
I mean, that's it's going to affect everybody.
Yeah. And they're doing this at a time period where there are already so many artists signing petitions to make Spotify pay 1 penny per stream.
Per stream.
A penny. They've been fighting for that. When I was in LA, they were literally, I see so many petitions online, you're just like, make Spotify pay at least 1 penny per stream. And I was like, I fuck with it.
Well, what are the other platforms doing? Like, is there anything similar? Like, what is payout like on Tidal or even on SoundCloud?
They're all around the same rate, but Tidal's a little bit better. They're all fractions of a cent, but some of them are higher fractions, closer to 1 cent. Still not quite a cent though per stream, but.
So how much listening do you need to have in order to like make a living off of this, just on plays alone?
I'm doing like 65,000 monthly on Spotify right now. So about 50,000 with some pull from Apple Music and Tidal and YouTube and SoundCloud combined.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting about 6,000 per day on SoundCloud. And then, yeah, it's because it's a mixture of them. It's not like you're just pulling from one of them. You're pulling from all of them when you have distribution,
Yeah. So if you were to come up with like a new way to do this, how would you do it? So you'd implement 1 penny per play. And what else in terms of like, well, what are the other things that would help an artist like on Spotify or SoundCloud and all these streaming platforms?
Making it easy to get market materials, or just like benefit smaller artists because they kind of focus on bigger artists a lot. That's like their whole thing. But it's about the marketing. It's about the visibility.
Yeah.
Giving visibility to just equally talented artists. I feel not just big artists, but the artists that have like the clear presence, even if they're not that big yet, they have a clear presence in their music and stuff like that. Very foundationary things, like, but making it like they don't get to sign away some percentage of their payment just because they're getting marketing, or they're getting pushed in an algorithm,
But isn't that what this new program kind of is?
That's exactly what it is.
But it's just the payout is so low that it doesn't seem worth it.
Yeah, I mean it would, because it's already low in general. It would push it to like crazy low. Like that's some shit. I think I get like $7 every 1,000 streams.
Jesus, $7. That's crazy. That is honestly that is nuts. But I do wonder, like, for every 1,000 streams, like when you look at that on any other sort of any other platform, like I think on YouTube, I don't think you would make that much for 1,000 views.
You make way more on YouTube. Trust.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know yet, man. I'm not there.
Soon.
Yeah. This episode takes me to the top. All right. I did want to ask you something. Your name Yuni Wa comes from Yuni Basura. Am I saying that correct?
Yuni Basuru, and then the Wa is just separate. I got it. The Yuni Basuru part tatted on me, actually.
Whoa. That's it. And it means universal.
Yeah. It does.
And what is the Wa part? What is the combination of your name? Where does that come from?
When I looked up Wa, like I kept seeing cooperation around it and harmony. So kind of like that, unity, harmony, all that. That's what the Wa is like meant to kind of symbolize. So like universal harmony. That's what originally my name was. Because I shortened it back in the day. I was going by Yuni Basuru Wa. That was my full artist name. I just shortened it over time.
Say the whole thing, man. Say the whole thing.
You got Notorious B.I.G. You got B.I.G.
Yeah. Well, A Tribe Called Quest, they're the whole thing. You always say,
Tribe.
Oh, all right, never mind. I'm wrong. I'm wrong here. Well, the reason I brought that up was I'm actually really curious about, regarding music and maybe just art in general. Like, I was reading up about you, and you grew up in the church.
Yeah.
And you did choir, and that was your introduction to music, right?
Yeah, basically that. And yeah, went to a Boys and Girls Club studio when I was like 11 to 12. I spent a lot of time in there, and we had a music program there. And basically, I'd be in the studio every Friday, or Friday whenever I could go. It was every Friday. I could go there, get bass guitar lessons and drum lessons, and play on the rolling beat machines on Reason, which was my first software I really got to produce music on, was Reason back in like 2012, 2011.
Yeah.
And laid the foundation for all of what I'm doing right now, honestly.
That's cool. But one thing I kind of wanted to ask you about was like, to you, what is the? I'm trying to figure out a way to put this that kind of makes sense, but I guess to you, what is the relationship between like music and art and like faith and spirituality? You know, you're coming out here, you're online as universal kind of harmony, bringing everybody together with music. What you do, right? Like people
Yeah.
dance to it, people vibe to it. But even just
They
like
experience their lives to it. This is like, honestly, the connection's very strong. I mean, I'm not very that religious, honestly, but music is my religion. I feel it's sonics. You know, I see myself as a doctor. I feel like musicians, like the things you hear, like the vibrations, all that have an actual effect on your entire body, on you, on your mental, emotional, you know, states, all that. I'm aware of that. I know if the world was supposedly created or the universe was supposedly created by God, the first thing that was ever probably brought into existence was vibration.
explain,
Because you have to
expand on
say,
it.
God said, "Let there be light." He's saying words. He's saying sonics.
Yeah. But they just skipped that
That
part in the 7 days, that story.
that's that sound. That's just the sound of his words creating the whole universe. Think about that. Think about what I just said. That whole thing. I'm not religious no more. I just grew up. My grandfather was a pastor, you know, but that's what I pull away from it, you know. Yeah, man, it's just that sound led to all creation.
Hell yeah, I'm into it, man. Like I've never thought about it because you're right. Like he did say, "Let there be light." He wasn't silent and like flipped the switch. You know,
Silence and then sonics.
God created sonics. All right, what is Yuni Wa creating? What is that process? You know, when you're creating sounds, when you're saying "Let there be light," is it a spiritual thing? Are you just feeling it out?
I'm thinking about before I even make the song, before especially I make a song for like my project. Like I'm thinking about how I'm feeling in that very moment, how I felt up until that point, how I felt in the past, how I want to feel the future. Think about all these things at once, you know? I'm thinking about like also I write down like my concepts, like my atmospheres and all the things, like the words I feel. I write them all down. And I just look at them and I peep them and I just, you know, chill out, relax, smoke some weed. Just,
Just let everything permeate.
yeah. Because I got to be deep in that state and those emotions, you know. I gotta submerge myself in my mind and really think about all that stuff. Think about the what are other people going to experience from this, like the value, how I give the value to the sound. You know, I'm constantly thinking, where's the value point in this very work? Where's the emotion lie and just the overall feeling? Is it going to be too intense? Is it going to be like, you know, a lot of my newer shit, I'm like, intense. I'm like super, all my new music is super intense. I feel like I made also, my form and way of making music has changed since I was younger. Because I made music for so long. And so I'll make a dance song back in the day, or a synthwave song. People would love it, go crazy. And it's some like, some smoky music or some shroom music or just like I don't know. But now it's like I got more deeper into like electronic and I'm being more industrial here and there, and it's way more expansive because I'm like, I know I have more sounds to use and at my disposal I did a couple of years ago. And I want to utilize all those. So I'm not trying to stay the same. I'm still trying to evolve. And I'm also constantly thinking about how I can evolve and give that, of course, more value to the listener.
Yeah. And when you get into that mode, you produce so much, like, is that easy for you, or is this process like take time each time you do it?
It takes quite a bit of time, but it's pretty easy. I've made I have over 400 song discography.
That's nuts, man. You're a workhorse.
Yeah, it comes with it's draining and energy, but I love it, and I respect the art form, and I respect the OGs that paved the way and all that. So,
right. Has that cost you anything in terms of with people or even whatever opportunities you were like, no, I gotta make my own shit. I can't go out, do this thing.
Well, it's not necessarily like that, but I feel that's a good question. It's never really cost me anything, but even when I could have not done that, I still rather do that. I'd rather still be honest about my inspirations and where I draw my, the artists I look up to. What their music done for me, I just give props as much as possible.
Who are some of those people that you look up to?
Fly Low and Dilla and Daft Punk and all those guys. Knowledge. I like Sam I Am. A lot of Brain Feeder people too.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to meet any of them?
I have not.
Yeah, all those Brain Feeder guys are really cool. And actually, I met Thundercat once. We programmed him for something when I was at UCLA, and he was there for a show. Mm-hmm. And I go backstage because I'm gonna help work the event, and I had no idea what to say to him. Maybe this is a question I can ask you. What is the best thing you can say to someone after they perform? I went up to this dude. I was like, hey man, I got really in my head about it. I was like, this dude just gave an awesome performance. Everyone was super into it. He's been hearing good show all night. If I say it one more time, it's not gonna mean anything. I want something special here, I go up to the dude and I'm like, hey man, nice earrings, brother. He's like, thanks, dude. And then just walked off, and I was like,
that's a good one.
That was worse.
No.
No?
I like when people tell me they like my glasses or my accessories.
All right, but after you just had a kick-ass show, that's what you want to hear?
Yeah, that's cool. It's not like we're aliens.
No, I know, but
regular compliments.
I was just I get in my head about these things, and I was like, listen, I want him to know that I enjoyed the show, but I also don't want to just say what everyone else is saying, I don't know. I was overthinking it. Have you got anything? What are some of the coolest things people have said to you after a show? Anything memorable?
When they talk about how much they listen to my music, there's been a couple of times where people come up to me like, I listen to your music all the time. And they tell me all about all these records specifically. And I'm like, oh, no. Like that. When they actually know my history as an artist, it's you can tell they pay attention. Yeah, that's cool. That's happened to me a couple times, just people, being like, I remember one time a dude liked my set so much. He said, bro, you did so well. Bro, I'm going to give you this. And he gave me a whole joint full of good ass weed. I shit you not. In my hometown. I was just like, wow, this is crazy.
Dude, that's fucking awesome. What have you, okay, so you've been doing this a long time. Have you met anyone who's been influenced by your work, who's also making music now? Someone a bit younger than you or older? I don't know.
There's a lot of people that see me as inspirations. Some I can say the name of, some I don't remember completely, but I feel like I've influenced quite a few people. People hit me up all the time in DMs and always tell me, I used to listen to you in 24. I started listening to you in 2014, 2015, and they're just like, you made me want to get into this, or at least try it. I'm like, that's dope. I'm glad I'm influencing people enough to make them try things that they are completely, that they don't know that much about. Like, that's cool. Like, people
Yeah.
should always try new things.
So, what kind of got us started on this, me reaching out to you about being on the podcast was actually you posting on Twitter that you had something you were trying to say. You had stuff to get off your chest. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
What were you feeling, man? What got you like revved up that you really needed to reach out like that and let people know you got something to say?
Man, it's just, everybody used to know me. I used to like release so many albums per year, like 6, 8 albums a year. I released one album this year, early in January.
Yeah.
Bunch of singles. And I'm just like, this next album and these next albums, like, I feel so pumped up about it because I know it's like, this is like the shit I dreamed about. Like, I know those works that are like dream works, like where I'm asking so highly of my own creative abilities. I was sometimes questioning at one point back in the day. It wasn't even possible, but, going in the direction I've really been feeling, and that's the more cinematic, electronic trap, but still synthwave, all that stuff intertwined.
Yeah.
With this avant-garde electronic music, it's like, I'm like thankful for all the people that supported me up until this point, truly. And I got this new shit for them. You feel me? That's what I'm pumped up about.
It seems like you're a bit more precious with this work than maybe you've been in the past.
Yes.
I think when you make so much, you have to like just get it out, right? But this one, what's changed that's got you taking your time?
I reevaluated everything. What's making me take my time is just like, I'm way more tedious and I'm way more I'm looking for a way more specific sound than I used to, and detail. Like, I'm searching for a very specific type of detail in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And all the essence of all these songs and the flow of them all, a very specific detail where it's just like, this is it,
Yeah.
Like, it's like when people listen to Thriller by Michael Jackson for the first time.
You're going for that.
As far as electronic music goes.
Well, I think you can do it, man. You're already like, you don't need to hear from me, but you got everything you need to definitely get there, One thing I wanted to ask actually was regarding online presence. Having researched you, just digging through your social media, like you're kind of a mysterious guy. I think, there's a bit of mystique behind you, and I want to know like what is your approach to social media especially when it's so closely tied to what you do in your career,
Yeah. I'm just funny as fuck on social media. Like posting memes and shit. Like, I'm super mysterious sometimes. I'm very political. I'm very like outspoken. You feel me? But I'm very articulate of whatever I do want to articulate. Like very like intricate concepts or shit that I'm really into philosophy and all that, and politics. Mm-hmm. So I'll go that way, and I don't know. That's like usually my like outlook. I'm gonna try to be a very aware music artist. Try to use my platform for like not just myself and my music, but also because I come from a civil rights city. I come from a background, I hold that dear to me, being able to even exercise my freedom of speech and be able to talk about, because some people are just like, Yuni Wa, the dance music artist. They don't know I'm from the South and I'm from Arkansas. I sound like I make music from a big city. I feel like sometimes. I feel like people expect me to be from this big city.
Can you explain that? What does that mean? Like, you make music like it's from a big city?
I feel like they always expect really good music artists to be from big cities, or just like when you make broad music. Like, I feel like my music sounds kind of like bold. It sounds like confident. It's kind of weird to understand. I just try to make the best stuff possible, honestly.
So you mentioned earlier that, you know, your background is real political. Can you just like, is there family history? How long has your family been in Arkansas? Like,
my grandmother was born in El Dorado in southern Arkansas on the border of Louisiana. I believe my grandfather was like from Portland, Arkansas. My mom, they went to and lived in Monroe, Louisiana for a little period of time. And that's when my mom was born. And my grandfather was a preacher. He would go to cancels at the same church in, I believe, Alabama that got bombed in Montgomery with Martin King way back in the day. He was involved in that stuff, you know, in that era of civil rights. That's like for the most that I know, and that they came to Little Rock in 1973.
And now you just voted this election for the first time, yeah?
Yeah.
How'd that feel, brother?
It felt good. I voted for Biden. I didn't vote in 2016.
Yeah, 2016 wasn't very inspiring. It was like, I mean, listen, I'm not going to say Biden was very inspiring either, but
he's not. He's really not. I wasn't really inspired by Trump or Biden, but I was like, I'd rather not have Trump at all, because at least Biden isn't here talking about like killing like 5 innocent black people for a crime that they were already proven to not have committed.
Yeah.
I was like, that's actually fascism.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not gonna do that.
Well, what's crazy is that wasn't a turnoff for any Trump supporters. The fact that, you know, this dude was pushing fascism and essentially like really hard, you know, just bullying everybody that didn't agree with him. You know,
police state shit.
Yeah, it was some serious police state shit. And, you know, to me, what that made me realize just like exactly how much power like the president influence the president has, you know? Like you always hear about checks and balances. So I'm always like, okay, well, you know, whatever he does, there will be something to stop him. But it seemed like that was never really the case with Trump.
Yeah, it wasn't. That Constitution is not up to date.
It's like 300
not years old.
Yeah. And, you know, of all the candidates who are running on like the Democratic side, that's why I liked Andrew Yang the most, because he seemed like the most like sort of future thinking, you know, like he understood technology.
He's very
the most
forward thinking.
Yeah, he's very forward thinking. I was like, we need something like that, not necessarily an establishment Democrat who's gonna just, you know, more of the same, right?
Yeah, status quo Joe.
Yeah, status quo Joe. I think that's the better way to put it than Sleepy Joe.
I think that Andrew Yang got on Twitter he was like, the fact that this presidency, this election was this close should be very concerning.
100%. Like the fact that this dude was running the country, and, you know, just the basic way he handled like coronavirus, absolutely atrocious, right?
And he still got 2 million more votes than he did last year.
I know.
I mean, the last election.
It's nuts to me. And he lost, but it's like, I don't know what can change people who voted for him. Like, what can change their minds?
Yeah, I don't know either.
That's what baffles me. Like, at least with like people who vote Democrat, it's like, oh, you know, they want progress, or they want, you know, more rights for people, equal rights, some sort of fairness in America, right? That's kind of what the bigger idea is for people who vote that way. You know, and you can capitalize off of that, right? You can sell that dream, but there's a code there. And with Trump supporters, I never felt like there really was a code. Like they would say all these things, but it never was what they said it was. You know,
they were just blanket terms to destroy more things.
Yeah, exactly. I won't keep you too much longer, but I did want to ask, man, like, what's inspiring you lately? What's got you feeling good? And do you have any good anime recommendations?
I have great ones, man. I would say what's been inspiring me lately is the fact that the system Isn't perfect, but we're still seeing somewhat change, I guess. And just the fact that, like, I know I got to keep going. I find beauty and inspiration and unpleasantry that can sometimes come with life and all that. So I feel like I'm finding that in art, the imperfection in life,
Mm-hmm.
the fight of fascism, the fight to kill fascism.
Yeah.
I draw inspiration from all that and just philosophy of how, I like Friedrich Nietzsche, so like philosophy, stuff like that. Just the pondering and the ability to still be able to ponder new ideas in itself. I like that. So, that's my thing right now. And my favorite anime recommendation for right now is Promised Neverland.
Promise Neverland. Dude, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being part of the first episode of this. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you taking your time, man.
No problem, man.